Bro, that's good revenge, man.
If you
Wow.
find this, you're instantly rich.
If you find something like this floating in the ocean, you should probably pick it up because you just became a millionaire. This is a TikTok video that I was tagged in where these people on a small watercraft found this object and they're trying to pull it in onto their boat. As the camera gets closer, we can see this object in more detail, and this kind of looks like something known as floating gold or ambergris. Ambergris is something that's created by sperm whales naturally. Part of a sperm whale's diet is squid, and squid have pretty sharp beaks. When the squid's razor-sharp beak travels through the whale's digestive tract, this can cause a lot of damage, so whales are going to end up putting out a substance that kind of encases this and prevents it from scratching their insides. The substance they produce is known as ambergris or ambergris. And believe it or not, this excretion from whales has a very pungent odor that a lot of perfume companies like to use in their high-end perfume. The only problem is it's extremely hard to come by. This means that it costs around $100,000 per pound. Certain chunks have been found out in the wild, valued up to $2 million, which is absolutely insane. When I look at this from the initial video, this really doesn't look like ambergris to me, but if it is ambergris, these guys just raked it in.
Oh, I don't know what that is. It's the first time I'm hearing about it.
How much money was put into a trust bond for the birth certificate when I was born?
The value of a birth certificate bond is usually at least $100 million.
Alexa, what happens with a birth certificate bond over time?
The birth certificate bond is a financial instrument that can be used to enslave a person's body, mind, and soul, turning them into collateral for government debt.
Alexa, if I have a birth certificate, do I have a straw man?
A straw man is created when a birth certificate is issued, according to a theory, and the straw man is then subject to statutory law.
Alexa, what is statutory law?
Statutory law is a written law enacted by a legislative body. It is the primary form of law in common law systems, distinguishing laws created by a governing body from case law.
Huh. Oh my god, that's scary, man.
Detail. Now, these are like small apartment complexes. This can probably hold anywhere from 50 to 100 people per little carousel. Look at this. You're talking, if each one just held 100, and let's say there's about 30 of them, we'll say, yeah, times 10, times 10, you're looking at 1,000, you're looking at about 3,000. You're looking at maybe anywhere from, let's say, 3,000 to 10,000 people riding around on a Ferris wheel and holding all of them up. And you start to sit there and think, wait a minute, what? 10,000 people riding on a Ferris wheel? Think of the energy it would take in order to move 10,000 people. When you go to Six Flags, they have like, I don't know, we'll say 100 people on the roller coaster, and they got tons of energy popping with that thing. And as people are saying, those were magnetic carousels. And yes, they were. When you get into the details and you learn about these things, this was on magnetics. This was not on the system we currently use. So you could use a lot of energy, and it's really easy to do. But it's just fascinating because, I mean, look at the size of that thing. And just to think, like, each one is like an apartment complex of like 20 to 30 people just rotating around the entire time. And there's those steeples again. And look at how large that is. Look at how large the Ferris wheel is compared to the building. And then you got the cute little chairs right here, which this is temporary. These little chairs are temporary. That's probably what they put in there to take the picture. But this Ferris wheel, definitely not temporary. The line to board it, and there's a view from the inside so you guys can see. You gotta see this. So here's the line. Everybody's getting all excited. Maybe 10,000 people getting excited to go up on the Ferris wheel. And there's the view, if you guys can see that. Look at all those people. See them all lined up like ducks? That's a lot of people. Every single carousel. So we're in 1893. We have better roller coasters than 2023. And you can hold maybe 5 to 10,000 people on the roller coaster. When in reality, I get to go stand in line and I gotta buy a boarding pass and maybe pay extra to get on the thing faster. And then it's gonna put me on for 1 second and then kind of kick me off. But that's kind of what it is. You also have some hot air balloons in case you want to take that. Looks a little dangerous. And some ostriches, which I thought was interesting too. I have no idea about hearing about ostriches in Chicago, that's for sure. If there were ostriches, that's pretty dope. And then more Ferris wheels and stunning photos. So these are tickets. These were tickets. So you can have your ticket, and this is what was on it, and you take your little cute boat ride, and it says a view from the Island Bridge World Fair, Transportation Building of Columbia Exposition, and then this is, again, your Ferris wheel. Absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. So then we continue onwards, because I want to show you guys, they had fireworks, too, somehow.
Oh, all those things used to be there in the past. That's creepy.
Some people that you think know, like, and trust you can't stand you. I'll prove it. People aren't paying attention. I'm a social engineer. I'll teach you micro profiling. I'll tell you how to do it. In your office, you'll find out who despises you and who likes you. A third grader could do this. The FBI knows about it. I'm a magician. I have almost 1 million people on TikTok. Guys like me know about it. I sold door-to-door meat and seafood for 20 years. Strangers gave me $500 to $1,000 in 20 minutes. How? Micro profiling. I'm a car salesman. I crush it. How do I do it? Micro profiling. At work, do this. Pay attention. Find somebody in your office who's standing up, walking around, getting coffee, whatever. Sneak up behind them and start a conversation. If only their head turns around, or if they turn around and their feet aren't pointed towards you, they don't really respect you or like you. Walk up to one of your people at work that you've worked with for 6 months or a year, and they're busy working, they're typing, whatever. Walk up, start a conversation. If they stop what they're doing and look at you, they like you and respect you. Some will have a conversation but keep working. It's a red flag. It's micro profiling. Those little micro mannerisms is what we're looking at. I'm a car salesman. I'm a car salesman. I do everything. I'm everywhere, right? So watch this. When people walk into the store and they shake my hand, they all do. If they smile, when they're shaking my hand, they've already micro profiled me and they like me. If they shake my hand and aren't looking me directly in the eye and smiling, a lot of them are serious, they don't like me. They micro profiled me. Here's a move you can do. If you're in sales, let's just say, or if you're dating or whatever, watch this. Here's a move you can use. If you go on YouTube, if you go on Google and you study for a while, just 30 minutes, and you look at famous people who are together, like Robin Williams or Jim Carrey or Arnold Schwarzenegger, whoever, Mike Tyson, many times in those pictures, when they're with somebody, you'll see them with their head tilted. That means that they're passionate about that friend. People pick up on that subconsciously on a base human level. It's micro-profiling. So when a customer is talking, whatever, tilt your head, be serious, and listen. It's a sign of empathy. They're not registering it in their conscious, their frontal lobe. Subconsciously, you're building rapport. As a car salesman, if I told you that on my desk I have candy and sweets and I offer it to people to relax them because cookies and sweets and sugar lowers the blood levels, milk duds, whatever, and it raises their serotonin, which is a brain enzyme, which makes them happy and comfortable. If I told you I did that, you'd say, he's a con man. No, I'm a social engineer. But people assume people like them. They like you because they work with you every day and they have to fit in. There was a guy at work, I'm 64, there was a guy at work, 21, he's a genius. He's a genius, he's a salesman, he's a genius. Guy was respectful, but didn't give me the time of day. I spent 2 weeks giving him affirmations, not complimenting him, affirmations. Hey pal, expecting a lot from you today. Mister, I see 2 cars moving today with your name on it. Dude, you got this. Within a week, he was on my side, helping me, teaching me, coaching me, and doing the same back to me. In his heart, he likes and respects me. Use those affirmations. It's not complimenting people and being weird. It's just building people up. Try that on a couple of people. If they don't flip inherently, they don't like or respect you. Old man, you're on a diff level. Old man, you're on a different level. Nah, it's 3rd grade. I'm from the streets. It's FBI stuff. Now, there's two kinds of people. I mean, before I tell you those two kinds, and then we're done, this is the final message. There's two kinds of people I want you to watch out for. But before I do that, I want you to give me a heart. Go ahead, give me a heart. And in the comments, say, man, genius. There's two kinds of people. Listen up. There's people who are before you, people who support you, and people who aren't. Don't waste your energy with people that don't support you and build you up. Words are like wands. You hear the word spelling? I'm going to give you a spelling test. Words cast spells. Using words to give people doubt, you hurt people. I want you to use words and affirmations to build up society around you. Be a walking reward for a people, a person, and a country. And lastly, love yourself. Speak to yourself. You already do. It's a choice. Use words to build yourself up. I'm 10 feet tall and bulletproof. I'm a walking reward for a people, a person, and a society. Start paying attention to people's micro mannerisms. Amen.
Oh, that's interesting, man. That guy has thought us only. Oh, that's very beautiful, man.
Look at that detail. I mean, can you really believe that these things were built up that fast? And they just kept throwing up buildings. I mean, they must have been like the Energizer Bunny, just building things so fast that we can't even comprehend that they can build entire cities like that while being in a survival state. And somebody just said the Palace of Fine Arts. Yes, that's what that was. And here you go. Another San Francisco. Looks exactly like Chicago, looks exactly like St. Louis, exactly like New York City, exactly like South Carolina, the people who attended. Got all those people. I mean, look at that. These are massive buildings. And what's interesting is when you go through this book, you see that all of those buildings are called portals. Portals of this, portals of that, portals of this, portals of that. The name portal is very common. And all of these things, when you start to look at the design in all of these cities, they do look somewhat like portals where you would go and you would kind of go through something. So you have to sit there and go, when you look at the history lessons in which we have been sold with horse and wagon, that's not the timeline in which was taking place at this time. But then, as they destroyed a lot of stuff, then they started teaching us something new. That a bunch of people on horse and wagon were just roaming across, building across the frontier.
Oh my God! Do you believe that story?
A little bit about your knowledge of Barry Soetoro, aka Barack Obama, and his involvement with these projects.
Well, I was in Project Pegasus as a schoolboy. Roughly, my first experiences were at age 6, and then I was dropped officially into Project Pegasus at age 7, turning age 8 in September of 1969. And I was in it for 3 years to the end of the summer of 1972. But I actually had about 4 years of experience during those 3 years because I spent 3 major time loops where I was staying in New Mexico during the summer and then being teleported not just back to New Jersey, but so as to arrive on the day that I left. I left the project on my alpha timeline, in real time, at the end of the summer of '72. I was trained for a jump room program that took place from roughly 1981 to 1983. Our training was at College of the Siskiyous in Weed, California. And among my fellow students during that 3-week training program was a young man attending Occidental College named Barry Soetoro, who now is known as Barack Obama and is serving as the 44th President of the United States. The woman that he appointed the first female director and the 19th director of DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research and Projects Agency, Regina Dugan, was one of our classmates, as well as one of the whistleblowers who stepped forward. William B. Stillings was in that class, as was the late space shuttle astronaut William Cameron McCool, who died tragically while serving as the pilot of the space shuttle Columbia upon its re-entry into Earth's atmosphere on February 1st of 2003. So those were in addition to myself, those were the 5 of the 10 Mars trainees who Brett Stillings and I can confirm were in our training class. The individual going by the name of Barry Soetoro and also Regina Dugan and I, during those 3 weeks, towards the end of those 3 weeks, we were involved in 3 months of study there at the college that was effectuated by having us teleport to the beginning of the summer, work there on a threat assessment regarding the Martian humanoid civilization. We were given about a 4-inch dossier of secret documents about the indigenous humanoid civilization on Mars, and each of us was asked to draft a thesis giving our opinion based on the evidence of the Martian, whether or not the Martian humanoid civilization presented a threat to human civilization on Earth. And during those 3 months, I had a chance to get to know Barry better. We roomed together for a while. He was a very taciturn young man. I found it very difficult to get him to say anything. He was kind of shy. He was clearly very bright. He tended to just kind of respond with a few words and laugh at what he said. He kept his cards very close to the vest. But he was a bright and very likable young man. Certainly all of us in the program enjoyed his fellowship very much when we were in that program together, his friendship. And we all got along really famously well, almost like you do in college. You know, you have your friends in college. We all kind of really gelled. So I'm speaking out now because H was involved in this secrets program, and I think that the time for secrecy regarding these projects has ended. And so I have to be truthful that, as preposterous as it sounds, that some fact in the jump room program, and in fact, Brett Stillings has corroborated that.
Because you mentioned that, you know, you are going into Mars in this program, and from my understanding, you guys would step through these almost, correct me if I'm wrong here, these elevator-like contraptions, or these doors that would kind of open up.
In fact, it was not just an elevator-like contraption. The jump room to Mars that we used was an elevator in a corporate office building in El Segundo, California, that had a dual use. And it was at 999 North Sepulveda, which was then owned or operated by Hughes Aircraft. And the elevator would go up to the 5th floor from the ground level, and we would check in a kind of a Fijian suite there. There was sort of a marble counter, and give our name, first and last, our date of birth, our social security number, and our federal ID number, which was a sort of a secret serial number that we had. I actually still remember mine. I won't say what it is on the air, but I actually still remember that number. It was a 9-digit number. And then we would sign the book and step back into the elevator, go up to the 8th floor. The elevator then would move horizontally across the 8th floor, where there's a kind of a pod that you can see at the back of 999 North Sepulveda in El Segundo, California. It's a sort of an extension at the back of the building. And we would be communicated with via sort of a telecom as to whether we were ready to go or not. And when we were, we would say yes, and the lights would start flashing at the bottom and top of the elevator, and it would morph into a cylinder. The box-like structure would begin morphing, slowly turning into a cylinder. The ceiling would migrate to the side, and you would see this swirling pattern at the end of the cylinder. And that would last for about 10 minutes or so. We would feel pressure, the kind of pressure that you might experience at about 40 feet underwater. It's about 2 atmospheres of pressure. And then it would start correcting itself back into the box-like form of the elevator. And about 5 minutes later, the door would open, and we were in an underground facility on what we had been trained was Mars. Now, since I've come forward publicly, the individual who investigated the Mars project for the CIA has contacted me, and he has informed me that he found during his investigation that we were not visiting Mars in real time, but these synthetic quantum environments that have been architected by the gray ETs that the U.S. astronauts call slots. They're basically folds in the fabric of time-space where extraterrestrials have sort of engineered synthetic environments. For example, how Mars might have been 1 million years ago. I went up with Bernie and Regina and another one of the women on the project. But basically, Bernie stated that he concluded forensically, when he was investigating the project when we were on it, that we were not visiting Mars, but a kind of a recapitulation of Mars that the gray ETs had designed in kind of a solid-state device. And that begs the question of really where the jump rooms came from. We may have been lent the jump rooms from the grays.
Oh my god. Oh.
Stress doesn't come from hard work. Stress primarily comes from not taking action over something that you can have some control over.
Okay.
It's a part of nature, but it's scary.
Right, it's very scary.
But that doesn't mean evil. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I've been warned by friends from NASA all the way from the Vatican that this energy from these orbs can kill you if you touch it. That they don't mean any harm, and just don't let them get too close.
Wait, your friends in NASA told you that?
Yes.
That they don't mean any harm?
And so did the Pope from the Vatican.
Case
sent
closed.
That word to me.
Oh my god. Oh.
So Japan just did a moon landing, but the images that are coming from their moon landing is very sus, I must say. I mean, what is this? It's giving India. It's giving India. It's definitely giving India. I mean, like, wow, how come in 2023 was the one when India launched? They had the CGI image, and then Japan just launched today. So how come in 2024 we don't have the technological capability to do a live demonstration of the moon? I mean, we've got drones, we've got so much technology that can videorize. I mean, the amount of technology, the camera equipment that we have, and we can't do a live demonstration. So the Americans that did this in the 1960s. You mean to tell me that we've got the 1960s had more technology than we do? You must tell us. I mean, they did a live phone call. So if you're an American, can you just tell us, like, how did you guys do it? How did you manage to have a camera that was in the moon, that one managed to capture the landing straight on the moon, and yet Japan can't even do it? India can't even do it. So how did you set up the camera work in the moon to capture the landing, and how did you guys retrieve the camera after the spaceship, whatever you call it, it left the moon? How did you get the footage? Like, how did the whole production work? Can someone explain to me how the production? I don't want the nitty-gritties of the moon landing. I just want to know the production behind the scenes. How was the moon landing captured on live stream television in the 1960s? So, like that. Like, yeah, we need to know this information. It's very important. I mean, why are we getting this information? Why are you getting CGI images that are looking like a 1990s TV game? Like, someone tell me, like, how did the Americans do it?
I use the sacred cubit length, half the wire. Take one end and bend it down. Top one, bend it over all the way tight. Do it as tight as you can around the plier. Take the other half and do it tight. Keep turning it. And now you have both sides touching. Take the plier out and just bring it over, and then start wrapping it top and bottom. As you twist it, the top wire stays at the top and the bottom wire stays at the bottom, and just keep twisting. And the nice thing is, when you use this softer wire, it works really nice. But if you have hard wire, if the wire is hard to bend, this becomes really difficult. What you should end up with is there should be an opposite end. Nothing is crucial. There are people who are being absolutely perfect with length and size and so on. The universe is very forgiving. Energy wants to flow wherever it can, and it will. They can feel the energy that's coming off that, or the pendulum will tell you that there's good energy coming off that.
Huh. That's interesting.
I'll admit, for a while I wasn't a believer. I thought the whole cats pretending to be scared by their cubs thing was just one of those feel-good facts we made up, like elephants thinking we're cute or hippos being anything but nature's nukes. Except it turns out that exact thing has been seen in lions, tigers, leopards, and snow leopards, so there's a good chance the rumors aren't just rumors. Apparently cat moms will actively try to boost her kid's pride like a mom putting mediocrity on a fridge. Old time it's getting the cub confident to get his own groceries when he grows up. But how are we so sure? Well, one, dogs will do this thing called self-handicapping, where boy puppies will purposely let girl puppies win while playing, cause game is game, just only one of them's playing. And two, let's be real, you'd have to have last night on your birth certificate to fall for that. Oh nah, yeah, you're real scary, buddy. But yeah, this was really just an excuse for me to put all these videos in one place and talk about it. So yeah, the more you know, and I hope you enjoyed because I know I did.
Oh man, that one was surprised.
Down. Make it down.
All emotions, including fear, are generated from something you believe to be true or define to be true first. Emotions cannot exist in a vacuum by themselves. They are always the product of something you've been taught to believe to be true. So if you experience fear, what that means is somewhere unconsciously, perhaps most likely, you're holding on to a belief, a definition that is out of alignment with your true self, and the fear is the energetic result of resistance to the natural self by holding on to a belief that's out of alignment with your true vibration, your core frequency. You can recognize that and use fear constructively to, let's say, reverse engineer the situation. By recognizing that you have the emotion, the first thing that would tell you is that means you must have a belief that's generating it. So the first logical question is, what would I have to believe is true about myself in this circumstance in order to feel what I'm feeling? That will begin the process of investigating to discover consciously what the belief is, so that when you can identify it and see that it makes no sense, that it doesn't belong to you, that it's out of alignment with you, then you have let it go. You can make fear your friend in the sense of saying that it is like someone knocking on your door and getting louder and louder and louder and louder to let you know that there is a belief there that you don't prefer. So you can say, well, thank you, fear, for bringing that to my attention, something I was unaware of within myself that I don't prefer. So now you've given me the opportunity to identify it and let it go. So thank you, fear, you've done your job. And that's how you make fear your friend. And as soon as you do that, you won't be afraid anymore. If you keep feeling the fear, you haven't found the core belief. Keep digging. It will always be the result of some belief or definition you've bought into, and once you let it go, there will be no reason to feel the fear because there will be no belief to generate it.
Huh. Oh my god. That's scary. Anyway, good vibes, man, and much love to yourself.
Okay, step one, you have to touch the belly, and then you have to pet the cat. From there, you immediately have to start patting. Pat until the cat turns around to bite you, and then push it over. This disables the kill drive. And once those steps are completed, you are free to belly rub. I have tested this on every cat, including your cat. You're
Bigfoot from 2013.
People, thanks for watching up to this far, man. You see, now that footage is very funny and creepy, because it makes me wonder if this thing about Bigfoot is really true, or is it just some people spreading rumors. You see, please share your thoughts out there. Have you ever seen Bigfoot or had an encounter with something that looks like that? I'd like to know. Thanks for watching up to this far, man. Much love to yourself. Good vibes. You see, there's some comments I saw there, some guys complaining about the mic volume, or they don't understand what I'm saying. You see, sometimes translating what is in my head from from the language you speak here into English. It is a long process, you see. And now there in the middle, some information might be omitted, but I try my best to pass the information right. But the main thing we are trying to say is love, peace, forgiveness, unity, and all that. Good vibes, generally that, you see. So if you can hear love, peace, and forgiveness, just spread it. You see, and pray to God that He help all of us to do good stuff, and even myself to be speaking the way you would have wanted. You see, that way you'll be spreading love in peace and happy as good people. Respect to yourself, man. Leave some comment there. You are loved and respected. By the way, if you have a pet, say hi to your pet. You see, much love. Keep it tuned for some episode that will be coming your way soon. A fire one, I need one, please. Goodbye in the meantime. Peace and love with you.